November 1943. The North Atlantic is black, not dark. Black, no moon, no coastline, no land for hundreds of miles, only freezing water beneath a ceiling of clouds. And somewhere beneath that water, a German U-boat is waiting. Inside the submarine, the air is warm, stale and thick, with diesel fuel and exhausted men. The captain stands beside the attack periscope. Through the narrow glass, he sees the convoy. 30 merchant ships, tankers, freighters, supply vessels, thousands of tons of fuel, food, ammunition, and equipment bound for Britain. The convoy moves slowly through the darkness. The captain studies its escorts, destroyers, corvettes, frigates. Then he notices a small silhouette along the edge of the convoy. An escort vessel, tiny compared with the destroyers, slow, almost insignificant. He barely gives it a second thought. He has no idea that 12 days from now, German officers will be trying to understand that same little ship. Because during those 12 days, 6 German submarines will disappear, and the ship hunting them will not be a cruiser, not a destroyer, not an aircraft carrier. It will be a small escort ship called HMS Valiant. But the danger surrounding Valiant reflects the real Battle of the Atlantic, where small escort crews faced an enemy they could rarely see beneath an ocean capable of swallowing a ship in seconds. Inside Valiant's cramped operations room, Lieutenant Commander Edward Mercer watches his men work. His coffee is cold, his uniform is damp from spray, but his eyes remain fixed on the ASDIC set. Ping, silence, nothing, then another ping. The operator freezes. Contact. Mercer turns. Range, 900 yards. The room goes silent. 900 yards is close enough for a torpedo. Bearing, the operator gives it. Mercer studies the information. 2 invisible machines are approaching the same point beneath the Atlantic. Stand by depth charges. Men rush toward the stern. The U-boat captain hears propellers through his hydrophones. Destroyer? His officer shakes his head. Too small, but the sound is getting closer. Valiant changes course. 800. Ping, 700. Mercer waits. 600. Then 500. Mercer raises his hand. Release. Depth charges roll from Valiant's stern. 1, 2, 3, 4. The ship passes over the submarine. For one terrible second, nothing happens. Then the Atlantic explodes. Valiant shakes violently. Another explosion. Then another. Inside the U-boat, lights flicker. Metal groans. Equipment tears loose. The captain struggles to remain standing. Then darkness. The submarine sinks. Above it, Valiant circles. Minutes later, oil spreads across the surface. Mercer looks at the clock. He does not celebrate. He simply exhales. Day 1. 5 more remain. And Germany has no idea what has just begun. 3 weeks earlier, HMS Valiant had barely been considered important. She was small, slow, and built for a job that rarely made headlines. Escort ships existed to keep merchant vessels alive. That meant weeks at sea in freezing weather, listening to sonar, watching the horizon, and waiting for an enemy that might never appear. There was nothing glamorous about it. The crew ate in cramped spaces. They slept whenever they could, and every man understood the same uncomfortable truth. A merchant ship could take a torpedo and disappear in minutes. Valiant could too. By late 1943, the Battle of the Atlantic had become a war of information. U-boats possessed concealment, the Allies possessed aircraft, radar, intelligence, ASDIC, and increasingly effective anti-submarine weapons. But none mattered if the escort could not find the submarine. The ocean was enormous. A U-boat could dive, change course, slow down, or simply disappear into the darkness. That was why Mercer drilled his crew relentlessly. He studied submarine tactics and attack patterns. He listened to experienced ASDIC operators. Most importantly, he taught his men to think like the enemy. If a submarine commander expected Valiant to turn left, Mercer might turn right. If the U-boat expected an immediate attack, he might wait. The objective was simple: predict before reacting. Contact, approach, lose contact. Predict, turn, attack, again and again. Then Valiant joined a convoy crossing the Atlantic. The sea was rough, visibility was poor, and somewhere ahead, German submarines were waiting. The first attack came on November 4. The second followed 2 days later. The third came soon after. 3 submarines, 5 days, 3 victories. German commanders began noticing the same escort. Whenever a U-boat attacked, Valiant seemed to appear. Whenever a submarine disappeared from ASDIC, Valiant seemed to find it again. At first, they called it coincidence. Then, they began asking questions. Was the ship carrying new equipment? Was British intelligence reading their messages? Was aircraft support guiding her? Or had the British simply become better at hunting? Whatever the answer, Valiant was no longer merely escorting. She was hunting. And the Germans were beginning to hunt her. That was exactly what Mercer wanted. Because a submarine commander obsessed with one escort could make mistakes. And the next commander was about to make one. The 4th day begins beneath thick fog. Visibility falls to less than a mile. A German submarine surfaces ahead of the convoy. Its captain sees almost nothing. No aircraft, no destroyer, no escort, only fog. He orders his crew to prepare the torpedoes. The radio operator makes a brief transmission. Seconds later, silence returns. But 14 miles away, Valiant's radio operator has heard it. Not the submarine, just a direction. That is enough. Mercer orders a course change. Valiant disappears into the fog. Nobody knows exactly where the submarine is. They only know where it transmitted from. The ASDIC operator searches. Nothing, again nothing, then ping. Contact. Range, 1,000 yards. The submarine hears Valiant's propellers and dives. Valiant follows. The U-boat turns. Valiant turns. It changes speed. Valiant adjusts. For the first time, the German captain realizes the escort is not simply chasing him, it is anticipating him. 600, 500, 400. Release, depth charges fall. The first pattern misses the submarine's center, but forces it deeper. The captain turns toward deeper water. Mercer understands immediately. Instead of following the submarine's stern, Valiant cuts across its projected escape route. The U-boat turns hard. Valiant turns harder. The second pattern falls. The sea erupts. Inside the submarine, a pipe bursts. Water floods the compartment. The captain orders emergency ascent. The ballast tanks blow. The U-boat rises. When it reaches the surface, Valiant is waiting. Her guns open fire. The German crew abandons the boat. Minutes later, the submarine disappears beneath the Atlantic. Mercer watches the wreckage. Day 4. 4 submarines have now been destroyed. But Mercer knows something the Germans don't. They are adapting. And the next attack will not be against an escort that is merely hunting. It will be against an escort already wounded. By the 5th night, German commanders have changed tactics. They transmit less, they spread their submarines farther apart, they approach convoys from different directions, and they begin searching specifically for Valiant. Because if the little escort is the problem, remove the little escort. Just after midnight, a German U-boat gets into position. 2 torpedoes enter the water. 1 misses. The second hits. Valiant shudders violently. Lights disappear. Men are thrown against bulkheads. Water pours into the forward compartment. Damage report. Forward compartment flooding. Engines? Still running. For several seconds, nobody knows whether the ship will survive. Then a voice comes from below. Men, trapped forward. Mercer orders the compartment sealed while the pumps begin working. The bow settles lower. Some men are bleeding, others can barely stand. Nobody leaves his station. Slowly, Valiant begins moving again. Her bow is damaged. Her crew is exhausted. But the submarine is still nearby. Mercer looks toward the convoy. He could withdraw. Instead, he says, "Keep us in the area." Then Captain Contact, the submarine that attacked them, is still there. The German commander has made a fatal mistake. He stayed to watch his target sink. Mercer gives the order. Turn toward it. The wounded escort closes the distance. The submarine dives. The ASDIC contact disappears. Then contact regained. Mercer closes his eyes for 1 second. Attack, depth charges fall. The first explosion shakes the damaged ship. The second throws men from their feet. The third is followed by silence. The operator watches the screen. Nothing, then another return. Attack again. Depth charges fall. The ocean erupts. Oil reaches the surface. Nobody cheers. The men simply stare. They know what that oil means, and how close they came to joining it. Day 7. 5 German submarines have now been destroyed. Valiant is wounded. Her bow is damaged. Her crew has been awake too long. And somewhere out there, one final U-boat is waiting. This time, it knows exactly what it is hunting. The 6th German submarine has received warnings. Its commander knows about Valiant. A small British escort. Persistent, aggressive, difficult to shake. 5 submarines gone. He has been ordered to avoid the ship. So he waits. He waits until the convoy is almost out of range. Then he moves. After midnight, the U-boat surfaces. The sea is calm. Stars appear between the clouds. For the first time in days, the German captain believes he has found the perfect moment. He sees the convoy. Merchant ships, weakly protected. Then he notices a small silhouette behind them. Valiant, damaged, slow, almost harmless. He smiles. Perhaps the escort is too damaged to interfere. He orders the torpedo crew forward. The U-boat dives, but Valiant has already changed course. The ASDIC operator catches the contact. Contact Mercer does not hesitate. Run in. The little escort charges toward the submerged U-boat. The German captain hears the propellers. He turns. Valiant turns. He dives deeper. Valiant follows. The submarine tries to escape beneath the escort. Mercer does not rush. This time, he knows the commander is expecting depth charges. Prepare Hedgehog. The launcher waits. The German captain hears the propellers passing overhead. For a moment, he believes Valiant has overshot him. He begins turning. Mercer waits. Pass over. Valiant crosses the submarine's position. The Hedgehog launchers fire. Projectiles disappear into the black Atlantic. Nothing. 1 second. 2, 3, then boom. The sea erupts beneath the submarine. Inside, the German captain is thrown against the bulkhead. Lights go out. Water bursts through the hull. The pressure vessel begins to fail. The U-boat sinks rapidly. Valiant circles above. No oil, no wreckage, nothing. Then bubbles appear. More bubbles. Fragments reach the surface. Mercer looks at the clock. November 12. 12 days. 6 German submarines. 1 tiny warship. The crew stands silently on deck. Nobody celebrates. They are too tired. For 12 days, they have hunted an enemy capable of killing them with 1 torpedo. Now it is over, at least for the moment. Mercer looks toward the darkness. He knows 6 victories do not end a war. They only prove the next fight is possible. The report leaving Valiant is remarkably simple. 6 submarines. 12 days. The numbers move through Allied headquarters. But German commanders see something else. Their submarines are changing behavior. They transmit less. They move farther from convoys. They avoid areas where Valiant has been reported. And among surviving crews, rumors begin spreading. The British have a ship that can find submarines. Some believe it carries a new detection device. Others blame Allied intelligence. Some blame aircraft. The truth is less mysterious. Valiant is not unbeatable. She is not faster than a U-boat. She does not see through the ocean. Her advantage comes from combining several ordinary advantages into one system. Radio information provides a direction. ASDIC provides contact. The operator interprets the contact. The captain predicts the submarine's movement. Then the weapons finish the attack. None is enough by itself. Together, they become dangerous. The Germans are not fighting one weapon. They are fighting a system. And that system is improving. Every submarine commander behaves differently. Some dive deep. Some turn hard. Some slow down. Some run. The submarine captain is not simply a target. He is a thinking opponent. And the crew that understands that has an advantage. But the Germans are learning too. Every attack teaches both sides. Every survivor carries information home. Meanwhile, Allied aircraft coverage improves. Convoy escorts become more coordinated. Radar improves. ASDIC operators gain experience. Anti-submarine weapons become more effective. The U-boat still has teeth, but the ocean is no longer the sanctuary it once was. The German commanders are no longer fighting one escort ship. They are fighting a network of detection, intelligence, training, and coordination. Valiant is simply one small piece of it. Months later, the war continues. The Atlantic remains dangerous. Merchant ships still cross the ocean. German U-boats still sail. Men still stand watch through freezing nights. Valiant remains what she always was, a small escort. She does not become a battleship. She does not receive enormous guns. She does not become invulnerable. She is simply one vessel among hundreds fighting a massive war. And that is what makes the 12 days remarkable. History remembers the biggest ships, battleships, carriers, cruisers, but the Atlantic War was fought by thousands of smaller vessels. Ships whose crews spent night after night protecting merchant sailors they would never meet. Ships searching empty water for an enemy they could not see. Ships that could disappear from one torpedo. Valiant was one of those ships. And for 12 days, something extraordinary happened. 6 German submarines entered the darkness. None came back. The first disappeared on day 1. Another was hunted through the fog. Another was tracked after revealing itself by radio. Another was forced to the surface. The 5th attacked Valiant herself and discovered that a wounded escort could still hunt. The 6th believed the little ship was too damaged to matter. That mistake cost him everything. Perhaps the most terrifying part of the U-boat war was not knowing when the hunter was near. A submarine captain could see a destroyer. He could estimate its speed. He could understand its weapons. But an ASDIC contact was different. The ocean looked empty, yet someone was listening. Somewhere above the submarine, an escort was calculating. Range, bearing, speed, depth, course. One mistake could mean death. That was the real battle, not simply guns against submarines. It was human beings trying to understand what was happening beneath an ocean they could not see through. And on this 12-day stretch of that war, one tiny escort became extraordinarily good at it. 6 submarines, 12 days, 1 crew, 1 captain, 1 ship that refused to stop hunting. The Atlantic looks empty again. The waves rise and fall beneath the moonless sky. No coastline, no horizon, no enemy in sight. But somewhere beneath the water, another submarine is moving. Its captain is listening, waiting, trying to hear the sound of propellers, trying to guess where the escorts are, trying to remain invisible. And somewhere beyond the darkness, a small ship is searching for him. Not because it is the biggest ship, not because it has the biggest guns, but because its crew has learned one simple lesson: You don't have to be stronger than the enemy. Sometimes, you only have to find him first. Ping silence, then blackness. 6 submarines. 12 days. 1 tiny warship. And Germany never managed to stop it.